Well, welcome. I'm so glad all of you guys got on here. It looks like we have 30, which is a record so far this year. So thank you all of you for taking time to get on. I'm going to jump right into this. I have, I think, 8 presenters that I actually reached out to some chapters that have a variety of fundraisers for them. Talk a little bit about it, and then give you a chance to ask them any questions. And Luke has something other to go to. So we're going to start with Luke Jackson from Springfield chapter.
Thank you very much, Donna. So as we get into this and go through this today, and really anytime you talk to another chapter, especially more well-established chapters, about how much they're bringing in, never compare yourself or your fundraising goals to them. For example, Springfield brings in well over $500,000 in 10 days with the Illinois State Fair. It's just not reasonable for some of these brand new chapters. So don't feel discouraged by those kind of things. That being said, what could be done by some of these smaller chapters is invest in a trailer and go around to local businesses and offer to give them sponsorship spots on that trailer for, have your gold, your silver, and your bronze level people, and with the different sizes of what their logo would be on the trailer. And part of your pitch should be more than just, oh, give us money because we like, or because you like us. You should make that trailer then go tour around town or around your county and leave it at local businesses, so that A, the businesses that do invest in your trailer get more visibility, but B, you get more visibility. Ambuck should always be the biggest thing on there. But for example, Springfield has, I believe, an 18-foot trailer, and we got, I believe, $80,000 for all of the sponsorship spots that we have on there, with I think only 3 or 4 of them being 10,000 level sponsors. And again, like what I said at the beginning, you don't have to go that high. We are just able to. And then beyond that, and kind of what I'm going to say a little bit is going to have you spend some money versus getting everything in, because you got to spend money to make money, right? Do happy hours around town. Bring your members out, hoot, holler, have a good time. And then when people walk up to you and be like, hey, what do you do? What are you doing? Who are you? Explain. And then you get your name out more than what it otherwise would be. Some people may join, some people might just write you a check. But I've seen, even when I was down in Soulard in a 7-member chapter, we did that and we brought in $10,000 easy over the year, just having happy hours. So don't ever discredit those type of things or be worried about spending money when you're trying to make money. Now don't go crazy, but it's a viable option out there. And that's all I got for this. Back to you, Donna.
Can you tell? I'd like to hear how you do the bourbon barrel.
Oh, so the bourbon barrel aren't there other chapters taking that over now? So we're done with it.
Are you okay?
The bourbon barrel, and again, Springfield being as large as it is, can do this pretty cheap just by asking members to go buy a bottle of bourbon. When the chapter will buy, your more expensive ones, your Pappy Van Winkle, $1,000 bottle or so. You need a couple of those headliners on there to get people interested. But the last barrel of bourbon that we did, I think, raised $32,000. We gave away 45 bottles of bourbon and only had to pay for $3,000 for the expensive ones. And then we also gave away a bourbon barrel itself with everything, which is kind of a cool little knickknack that people enjoy. But then we did that like to sell tickets. We got involved with the KC Hall and the bourbon tasting events around town that were willing to give us a table and let us put up a sign. And then we just sold tickets to all of these folks that walked in. I think similar price to what my raffle went for, I think, or is going for. $20 for one ticket, $100 for 6 tickets, kind of thing. You get a lot of people that want to ask, well, what's your $200 level, $300 level, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of things you can do where you do spend money, but it's like a basket of cheer. I don't know what that is. But don't be afraid to spend a little bit of money to try to make money, because like I said, you got to spend to make. It's a very reasonable thing to do.
Thank you. Any of you have questions for Luke about either of those events?
Yeah, that was me that did the chat. This is
Mhm.
Pam from West Norton. I don't understand how this barrel of bourbon works. So what do you do to set it up? And I mean,
So
are
does-
you just putting a table full with bottles of bourbon on it and selling chances?
So it's not just a one night thing. It's probably, I mean, to me, it's about a 9-month long endeavor, because we're collecting bottles from members. But the actual raffle itself probably goes on for 6 months. So the tickets, you win it all. Someone walked home with
So there's
45
one
bottles of
person
bourbon.
wins it all.
You can do it that way. Or
Okay.
you can do it in a way of, hey, one ticket's going to win the fancy bottle that costs $1,000 on its own, and then somebody else is going to win the whole barrel itself, which is 45 bottles, that has some nicer things than just Jack Daniels and Jim Beam, but not necessarily, so nice that it's going to make you go bankrupt,
Right.
purchasing all of it. But you can break it out however you want. You can even do, someone gets 20 bottles, someone gets the single bottle, someone just gets the barrel itself, if you were to go that route with it as well. I mean, none of these things will ever be a strict framework of, if you don't do it my specific way, you're going to fail. If you have a better idea how to run it.
So it does work like a basket of cheer, where you do a big laundry basket filled with different kinds of liquor and raffle it off.
Yes. Sounds like
Okay.
just a larger version of that.
Okay. That's what I was trying to figure out, because I had never heard that term before. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, thank you, Luke. I appreciate it. Tanya Lawson, she's going to talk about their yearly bid appetit. It's a big event, lots of fun. Are you ready, Tanya?
Well, as you can see, I'm not Tanya.
Oh, you're just using her name.
Yes. She sent me the link. She had a last
Good.
minute event to go to, so I apologize. My name's Amanda Otto. I'm also in the new network, Ambucks with Tanya. So our chapter has done bid appetit for many years, and it's kind of along the same lines as putting on a gala. And we do, we sell sponsorships, and then we also sell tickets to individuals who want to participate in the event. And instead of serving a meal, we have different food vendors around Salina come in and give little samplings. They donate all the food that way, and the attendees have certain amount of time that they can go around to all of the different vendor booths and get samplings of appetizers, entrees, desserts. They really just bring whatever their specialty is or whatever they want to showcase at the event. And then we also have beverage vendors that come, and they will give out samplings of drinks as well. And then we'll also have a cash bar available if participants or attendants want to buy their drinks. And then along with that, we do a silent auction that we work months on getting different baskets and items donated that are available in the silent auction, and then our larger packages we auction off during the live auction in the evening. We do a Amtrite giveaway during the night, and then after that, we do a fund a need, and so that's pretty popular. After we do the Amtrite giveaway, we have quite a few people just fund that need throughout the event before we go into the live auction. We also have different games, and those kind of change from year to year. So last year we did like a liquor wagon where people could buy chances or tickets to go into a drawing, and then we draw a ticket out and the winner gets a wagon full of alcohol. We've done some where we have just lottery tickets, a big pool of lottery tickets, and people can buy chances to win all of the tickets. Trying to think throughout we do the 50-50 raffle. So just some other interactive ways that if people don't want to bid on the silent auction or the live auction, that they can also participate in the donations as well. Last year, we raised just under $50,000 with that event. So that is by far our largest fundraiser throughout the year. Because of the bid appetit, we don't have to do very many fundraisers. We kind of do the large one and then maybe a couple smaller ones throughout the year. So it kind of makes it nice that we can put all our efforts into that larger event to make the most return out of that.
And I'm assuming you have a pretty good committee that divides all those different things up, all those tasks.
Yeah, so we have what we call a core committee. And this year there's 6 of us that serve on the core committee. And basically our job is to really oversee the events, make sure that we have our committees lined out, as well as our committee chairs. And then after that, we're really just a support system for the committee chairs. And that's just a way to help get other members involved and kind of dip their toe in a little bit to where maybe we can get them up to the core group in future years. And then they go out and kind of help recruit other members to serve on their committee as well. The core group is also responsible for booking the venue. We use an online auction site, so the core group is responsible for making sure that website's up and running. And then just really from there overseeing, like I said, all the committees. We build like an overall timeline for the event that has all the committee timelines built into it as well, so everybody can stay on task through those 6 months leading up to the event. And there's a lot of transparency there, so everybody knows what their expectations and responsibilities are.
We had a question on chat. They want to know where you hold your events at.
We use, it's called Tony's Pizza Event Center here in Salina, but it's really a big conference arena. They have a big arena, and then there's a meeting room, conference room connected to that. That by far is our largest expense with the event, is the venue. But we do save quite a bit by having the tasting happen to where we're not buying dinners for each participant.
That is good. Do those different restaurants, do they donate those appetizers? Is that part of is that their sponsorship?
Yes, they donate all of the appetizers, food, all of the samplings that they bring as an in-kind donation from them, as well as the beverages. And there's regulations with the venue that they can only serve so many ounces per sample. But the great thing is that the participants can go back as many times as they want to get what they want. You know, they just have the portions. There's just a certain portion control that they have to follow.
Does anybody have any other questions for her? It is a great event. You guys do a great job. Thank you. I appreciate you coming on and talking about it and bailing Tanya out. So
Sure. I was like, I don't know if I can do it, but I'll blab for a little bit.
You did a great job.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. I would like to move on to Clinton. I see a couple of you on there. They have a really good, and I think it's a lot of work for them, but a much smaller scale fundraiser that they do every year that a lot of you might like to hear about.
Well, I'm Connie Cummins and this is Donna Burton. We're from the Clinton chapter, and our chapter, like she said, is very small. We are down to a dozen people, dozen ladies, and so we have to keep our fundraisers pretty small. But we put together candy boxes. So we make 7 types of candy that goes in a pretty little box, and we sell those boxes for $35 a box. And like I said, those are 7 different kinds of candy. We do pretzel sticks, we do chocolate clusters, we do fudge, we do a little peppermint patty thing that's not what I call a peppermint patty, but that's the name of it. Let's see, we do Chex Mix, we do the coated popcorn. Is that it? Yeah, and peanut brittle. And peanut brittle is the only one that we house out. We had a former member, Carrie Crow, that made it for us for a long time. And just last year was our first year that she had retired from that. And we were quite disappointed because she gave us quite a good deal on it, you know. So we have lost part of our profit on that, but still. And then each of our members then sell those boxes. We put it in a box, a pretty box, and we put shred paper in it and arrange the candy in pretty bags and put a pretty bow on the outside of it, and then we sell those for $35 a box. We've got it kind of down to a fine art, and so I know just about where to get all of our supplies. And so we just last week started really with the project, ordering things and that kind of thing. So I don't know what else.
And we make, for as small as our club is, we make 300 boxes. That's our one and
goal.
only fundraiser for the year.
Our goal.
Do you guys get together and make all of that together, or do you guys make it at home and just come together and build them?
I think originally they did. That was kind of how the original project started out, was they did make it. That was kind of before my time. But what I understand is everybody kind of made their own favorite and then brought it together and put it together. But we do all of ours together. Like I said, the only thing we really farm out is our peanut brittle. And we have a little lady over in Eakley that runs a peanut farm. And they make the peanut brittle for us and make it in slabs, and then we break it up and package it. And then, but everything else is made. We do it on we've got it pretty streamlined now. We get together on a Thursday night and have just a little bit of a social on Thursday night, usually some pizza or something to eat, and then set up the tables and get the church that we rent from ready, so that when we come in at 8 o'clock on Friday morning, we're ready to roll. And usually by Saturday noon, we are taking our product home, finished up and taking it home. It is a long day on Friday, so we still do have a couple of ladies that have to work, you know. Some of them take a day off, and most of their people will let them off that day. But that we have a schedule of 8 to 8 that day. It's a long 12-hour day, and some of the ladies work that entire 12 hours, you know. So anyway, we just about have to. But we also recruit in. We have a drug court here in Clinton, and we recruit, they have to have volunteer hours. We're all the time looking for people who need volunteer hours. And our high school students, we have a little small school about 5 miles north of here, that Arapahoe Butler, that they always send us down, just about all their juniors and seniors, but they come and work a couple hours at a time, and their sponsor brings them down in the car. They all come in, they dip pretzels for us, they do whatever we need them done. And then the Clinton schools also, we contact them and get volunteers. We wouldn't be able to do it without volunteers, which is really nice, because they need those volunteer hours also. And then it's up to each individual member then to take their boxes and deliver them and collect, and then we bring it all back as soon as we get it collected.
I
So
have
also,
a couple
yeah,
of
Gordon asked about
questions.
profit. So it was about 50%. It's probably closer to 45 now. I want to say, did we go up to $40 a box, or are we still 35?
I think we're still 35.
We're still 35,
We're still
yeah.
35.
But so it's just about half.
Yeah, we try not to go up on the price every year, so that they're just not thinking, oh, every year they're going to go up $5 on us, So we try not to, but probably
Prices
2 or 3 years we have to go up about $5 because of inflation.
Somebody also asked if you're able to ship, or have you ever shipped any candy boxes?
I think maybe at one time, it's been several years ago, I had a gentleman that lived I believe he was in Oklahoma City, and he wanted me to ship that to him, and I did ship it to him, and he was very willing to pay the postage on it. That's what he said. He would pay the postage on it if I would ship it to him. So
it is an option if somebody here was
Yes,
interested.
it is an option. Yes.
Does anybody else have any questions for them, or anything else you want to share?
I just want to know if it's a Christmas project.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is, which kind of puts a damper on your whole holiday. It's why we try to do it of course, most businesses and people, the candy, of course, will keep. So, they're okay with getting it, that first week of December. And that's usually when we try to do it, is the weekend, right after Thanksgiving. That first week in December is when we've always scheduled it to do it. So
I bet you have a lot of repeat customers too.
oh yes, I keep a list, and and I have a lot of repeats. Some I call, and that they buy one, and I've got a little lady from my church that buys about 25. So
Yeah.
Lots of local businesses will,
Yeah.
I think, give them as Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
So we have a really good, good community
support.
support.
Yeah, I'm sure you built it up.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what they're meaning about the backing up to happy hour. How do you run this?
Oh, that was maybe the
Talking
first.
about Luke.
Yeah. Luke.
Luke's happy hour. Oh,
Happy hour. Okay.
yeah, and he's probably off because he had something else to
Mhm.
do. I think they were just doing happy hours and probably selling tickets at them. My guess, but that's totally a guess.
That's what I would guess.
So,
Okay.
okay. Well,
Yeah,
thanks so
I-
much. Oh, wait, another question?
Another question?
For I- Donna, so do you pre-sell your candy boxes so you know how many to make?
Yes, definitely. We
Yes.
pretty much, when we had more members, we would go up to 350 or 325, but with our low membership, 300 is about all we can do. And we get calls, we could sell, I bet you we could sell 400 if we had the manpower to do it. But yeah, we do pre-sell. We don't take the funds, we just pre-sell the product.
Pre-sell the product. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or did you have a question?
we made our order today. I
Yes,
talked
you
to
did.
Connie on the phone. I look forward to coming there tomorrow, but
Yes.
well, we've made the order the last 3 or 4 years and we totally enjoy the candy boxes, and I ordered 2 today, but you might get a couple of more orders tomorrow when I
I
come.
appreciate it. I appreciate it. Glenda Davini, however you pronounce her name, she always orders 3 or 4 from me at least, you know, so
She's with the Woodward chapter.
with the Woodward chapter, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, so.
Any
And
other questions?
I gave one away one year, years ago, in the big hat auction. And I don't remember now who won it, but you know, it was fun, you know, letting people see, you know, of course it wasn't finished at that time, you know, I just presented them with the box and said, this is what will be filled in it. And so when we got ready to make it, then she, you know, and I don't remember what she gave it for, it's not what she want, you know, but anyway, it's fun. Yeah.
That's what I like about it. It's fun. It's something any chapter could do, but you guys have a lot of social time too,
Yeah.
working on that, which really is a good bonding thing too. So
Yes, like I said, it's like Donna said, it's our only project, you know, so,
yeah.
you know.
Well, thank you so much for getting on here and talking about it. I appreciate you guys very much.
Thank you.
I'm going to switch over to Oklahoma City. David Beisel is going to talk about their clay golf tournament.
Hello, everybody. We're a pretty small chapter, about the size of Clinton. So we were having a booth at the State Fair of Oklahoma and selling beer and soft drinks. And I'll tell you that for that, at the time, 16-day fair, we weren't making anywhere near $500,000 like Luke's chapter was. We were probably making more like minimum wage. And we decided that wasn't working for us. So I went to an event when I was working in the mortgage and banking industry where it was a competitive event. It had flights in it. There were all kinds of things, but you shot sporting clays for a day and then spent a day playing golf. And there were A, B, and C and D flights. And it was a very competitive thing. In fact, the University of Missouri had their shooting team there. They weren't very good golfers, but they were darn good clay shooters. And I thought I could put this together and make a one-day deal, shoot a lot less clays and play less golf and turn it into a fundraiser. So I approached the chapter with that and we did it. And I think the event in May will be our 17th year of doing it. The way the event works, we start out in the morning shooting sporting clays at Silverleaf Shotgun Sports in Guthrie. We were shooting 50 rounds. We now shoot, I think, 72. We're a small chapter for shooting. I have to have help because we have 12 shooting stations and I don't have enough members to keep folks at the event and at each shooting station. So we rely on friends and spouses, and also our sister chapter in Edmond comes and helps us. Gordon has graciously been out a few years for it. Jenny has done check-in for us. So we check in the morning, we shoot sporting clays, and then we head to the golf course when shooting is done. And we have lunch and then send them out on a shotgun golf event. And then when that's over, we gather everybody back up. We typically try to give away a couple of Amtraks at the event. During the event, we have a dice roll, a dice that has numbers 1 through 4 on it. So on a par 5, you can pay, I think it's $10. Gordon, you may know because you probably did it, but we'll let somebody pay $10 as often as they want to until they roll a 1. We don't care how many times they have to roll it. It's just a fundraiser and it's all in fun. We have each member is expected to make a nice basket, a theme basket. Some are bourbon baskets, some are beer baskets, some are picnic baskets, some are shooting and hunting or golf related baskets because of the event, but each member does those. We have tickets for those. Then we also have live auction items where we have everything from guns to expensive golf items, custom made knives, and we raise some money on that. We don't try to make money off of our players. We try to just break even or make a tiny bit. We make our money off of sponsors, and Scott Buckaloo knew that we had a tie-in with the Bethany Children's Health Center and introduced me to a company down in Duncan because they had a family member that actually went to that facility and unfortunately didn't survive long, but lived their last bit of their life at that facility, and it's a huge tie-in to them. So we have a platinum sponsorship that starts at $5,000. gold sponsorships at 2,500, silver at 1,000, and bronze at 500. We have beer cart sponsors, Ambuck Hero sponsors, which is whatever they want to do. A whole sponsor is $250. So we have lots of little sponsors, but our major sponsor, again, that Scott introduced us to is a quadruple gold, or I'm sorry, platinum sponsor. And they'll beat that. As we go on on this deal, they started out at the $5,000 level. And last year, the gentleman called me up and said, "How much do you need?" I said, "We will take whatever you have, whatever your heart wants to give." And he said, "How about 20,000?" So for a small chapter to raise that kind of money in one day it's something that not every small chapter can do. It works for us. As I said, this is our 17th year. God has blessed us with great weather. We typically have it the first or second Friday in May. And out of the 16 years we've done it so far, we've literally had one rain out. And every other time we've been able to do the event. So it works well. I'm happy to help anybody put it together. The question most people ask is, well, how do you score shooting, which is a high score, and golf, which is a low score? How do you combine that? Well, it's really easy. You do the shooting, and whoever shoots the highest, that team gets a 1. On golf, whatever team shoots the lowest, they get a 1, and you add their numbers together. And if they're a 1 in shooting and a 1 in golf, they're going to win the event. They're going to be a 2, so the low number wins it. But we just try to have fun, try to get the event done in one day, make sure they understand a little bit about Ambucks, and raise some money. And I'm telling you, if our chapter of 15 can do it, any chapter can do it.
That's great. Donna Hinston's moving into her house, so she asked me to see if there were any questions for David. What an event. I sit here going, wow, all those things in one day is pretty incredible.
Yeah, we were the first event like it in the state of Oklahoma. I think I've been copied once or twice, but it's an unusual event, and some people like to shoot, some people like to play golf, some like to do both. So whether you're good at it or not, it's a fun day, as I hope Gordon can attest to.
So I have a quick question, David.
Yes, sir.
So how close is the golf course to the sporting clays course? I mean, because I'm thinking about, gosh, that'd be great, but I'm looking at miles travel between the two places I would think of to do that at. So
Yeah, Chuck, they're about 10 miles apart. We're really lucky.
Really?
The golf venue isn't the best golf venue in the world, but it's perfect for us because they're fine with small groups coming out. And from the time the guys leave shooting about 10:30, they're at golf by 11, eating by 11:30, and they're close enough together. They're both in Guthrie that it works out for us. But that is something you have to think about because you don't have a lot of travel time or don't want to have a lot of travel time in between. That's a great point.
Okay, thank you. That's great.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazingly organized event. Show up at the clay shoot, get in your car, drive about 10 miles, eat lunch, play golf, and then they conduct their auction and stuff like that. It's a very organized event for the Oklahoma City chapter.
And I would point out we're very lucky to have a commissioner in the county west of us. It's an auctioneer, and there's a therapeutic riding center that we help with, built the biggest, they call it a loading ramp. It's not a wheelchair ramp, but it's in the middle of an arena, but built the biggest ramp we ever built, that the riders go up on one side and there's stairs on the other side. The horses go in between. But he's a great auctioneer, and he certainly winds up the crowd with a little alcohol before we start the auction. That's a key, I think, to doing the auction, is let them drink some beers first. We do have beer carts that run around, but we just try and make it be a fun event that, again, it's a one-of-a-kind deal that people want to come to, because we have folks like Gordon and Jenny come from Lawton. We have Ambucks coming from Enid, folks coming from all over. So it's important that you do it all in one day, but if you limit shooting to no more than 72 rounds, which is 12 stations, and you limit golf to the 18 holes, it's a long day, but it can all easily be done in one day.
I have a question for you, David. So do you have to sign up for everything, or could you just go shoot, or could you just go play golf?
Great question. You do not have to sign up for everything. It's not very much of a cost savings on purpose on our part because we wanted to participate in the whole event, but we do have a handful of people that are shooting only, and we have more that are golf only. And we tell them up front, you're not going to get scored for the event. And we used to give away cash money and trophies, and everybody always gave the cash back because they want to go to the kids. So now we give away trophies, and we do pictures of kids getting trikes and present those pictures to that team that won that event, first, second, or third place. So they've got a memory to tie to that.
Thank you. I think Don is set back up again, right?
I am. I
There you
am.
go.
I made it into the house. Thank you, Donna.
It's all yours.
Yeah. Well, thank you, David. Any other questions for him? You did a good job, David. I know it sounds like a fun event. Maybe someday I'll come down and just shoot for a little bit.
You need to. Everybody that comes, most of them come back.
Well, good. I'm not a golfer, but I can shoot. Pam, you want to talk about your wine tasting? Pam from West Norton chapter.
Hi. I do not have video because I can't figure out how to turn my camera back on. I turned it off at one point. Now I can't remember how I did that. So you're going to have to look at the picture of Kurt and I instead. I actually stole this idea from Lisa Harner, district governor here in Pennsylvania. But we are in different areas, and we just did it the opposite time of the year, so it didn't conflict with theirs. This is kind of a twist on a typical wine tasting, and lets a lot more people participate that might not want to pay to get into a wine tasting. The admission fee to come to our wine tasting is 2 bottles of the same wine. So for instance, if you like Apothic Pinot Noir, you bring 2 bottles of Apothic Pinot Noir. 1 bottle will get tasted and 1 bottle will get auctioned. We've set it's a silent auction, so we set a starting price for each bottle. The 2 bottles are numbered identical, so as they come in, we number them 1 through however many bottles we end up with. We had a great venue for this, and quite honestly, the venue is the tricky part of this event. Finding a venue that works so people are milling about and not standing in one spot where everybody's at the tasting table. Where Kurt and I live, we have a clubhouse that worked really well that's set up with multiple rooms. So each room had a different type of wine. So we had a table of reds, table of whites, and a table of others. So sparkling and sweet wines. Our initial time we tried it, we did it at a restaurant where we have our dinner meetings, and it was 1 room. There's a big bar in the room, and so we had the tasting up at the bar, but then everybody was standing at the bar. So people didn't get to taste as many kinds of wine. People weren't mingling and milling about. So when we moved it over to the clubhouse, it worked really well because they'd have to walk around the whole clubhouse in order to taste all the different kinds of wine. At the event, we do the tasting, we do the auction of the wines, and then we had basket auctions, and we did a 50-50. So there's a multiple ways to raise money at the same event. We are a smaller chapter than we once were. We're down to 25 from over 100. And so, and probably 10 people participate regularly, and 5 of us do most of the activities. So 5 of us set up the wine tasting, and friends came in and helped us pour. It was a great event, and we have people that ask about it, but Since COVID came, the clubhouse has changed fees and hours, and it's not as simple to do it there. So we're looking for a new venue so that we can do it again, but at this time we don't have one scheduled. But it is a fun and a really good event.
So does your income come just from the auctioning off the bottles of wine, or do you charge them
No,
to come
we have a basket auction. So we have a silent auction for gift baskets, and we did a 50-50.
Oh, okay. That sounds like a fun event and pretty somewhat simple to do.
What time
It
of year?
is.
What time of year
I'm
do you
so-
host it?
Well, we've held it in January, and then we started holding it on Veterans Weekend and making a kind of a veterans themed event.
Neat. Anybody else have any other questions for her? Well, thank you, Pam.
Mhm.
It looks like one of my presenters got off. Hopefully he comes back in. Is there anybody from Grapevine here? They were going to try to find somebody to talk about their cornhole tournament. I don't see anybody. Gordon, you want to talk about your cornhole tournament?
Sure, I can. Great Plains chapter hosts a cornhole tournament every St. Patrick's Day weekend. It's held at the Apache Casino and Conference Center here in Lawton. It's about tied with our one of our other fundraisers for the most that we make. We make about $12,000 on it. We make almost all of our money from sponsorship. We team up with a local cornhole group, and they get the teams. They make the profits off of the teams, and our chapter makes the profits off of the sponsorship. But it's 3 days. Friday night is a singles tournament, and then on Saturday and Sunday are various versions of team events. So it is held on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of St. Patrick's Day weekend.
How much, approximately how much money do you guys make?
About $12,000.
Pretty nice income. Anybody have any questions about that?
Gordon, how many participants do you have, and how many folks does it take to run the event?
Last year we had about 150 for the singles, and then with the groups and the teams, we probably had about 65 or 70. Our biggest for our chapter, fortunately we're able to do it in shifts, about 3 hours for each shift. And really we man the door. We do charge $5 for entry, even if they're playing. So we do the wristbands, and we have man the doors. So on a shift is probably 8 or 9 people.
Looks like a fun event. Any other questions? Is there anybody here from Enid AM2? I don't see anybody. They were going to get on and talk about their chicken noodle meal. I'll tell you, it's similar to a lot of fundraisers, but those ladies get up really early in the morning and cook from scratch chicken noodle. And it's really good. And then they pack up meals and sell pre-sale tickets, and they have a drive-through, and Gordon and I have both worked it. I don't know how much money they make. Do you, Gordon? They do it in a church. I know that. And yeah. So that was one of the fundraisers. And then Tom was on here from Conshohocken, and it looks like he's gotten off. He was going to talk about their restaurant rally. Do any of you guys know enough about that to talk about that? Because I thought that was kind of a neat event.
I can probably talk a little bit.
I wondered if you could. Thank you,
Yeah,
Pam.
I think I went to the first 8 of them. So it's an awesome event. The first year they had like 400 people. The next year it went up to 600 and got a little crazy, so they've put a limit back to 400. They charge $65 a person. The restaurants in town at their own expense come up with a tasting of one of their dishes. One or two will give you a little tiny sip of wine or a little margarita, something like that. But for the most part, it's the food. And then you can buy drinks at all these restaurants. It's always done on a Sunday. Their major expense for the event is renting the school buses so that people don't have to walk to every single restaurant. They can use the school buses to transport between different parts of the town. Conshohocken is a very hilly town, so unless you're a strong walker, you can't possibly do the whole thing on foot. They have about 30 restaurants. It starts at 11 and goes to about 5 o'clock. You get a program that you vote on the restaurants, so all the restaurants are kind of vying for the attention and the award to be the number one favorite. A lot of repeats every year. But once in a while they have a couple new ones, and it's always a lot of fun. I used to go all the time with the Moores, Peter, Kathy, and Kelly, for those that know them. And we'd have a great time.
Thanks.
But it's 65 a person.
Okay. Thanks. That's pretty much what he was talking to me about. Thank you, Pam, for sharing that. I kind of like that idea. Yeah, my town, it wouldn't work because we don't have enough restaurants to do that. But in some of the towns where they have like a bar crawl type thing, but this is a
Right.
food crawl basically.
Exactly. The Conshohocken has a ton of really excellent restaurants. I mean, they have the Chinese restaurants, and they have pizza places and hoagie places, but they have some really, really fine dining, and they do a really nice job on this event.
Good. Well, thanks for.
I was just curious, does the chapter have any sort of overhead? Do they have cost?
I'm sorry?
Do they have to pay anything to plan?
The only thing they pay is for the bus.
Oh my gosh.
And
everything else is.
And they make like, I want to say they make like 40 to 60,000.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember.
I mean, figure 400 people at $65 a piece, and they always sell out. Now we sometimes get a T-shirt. One year we got a chef's apron. Sometimes we get a backpack, one of those string backpacks. So there's that expense in the buses, but that's all.
That's a really smart event.
It is a very smart event.
It is, and it's so popular. They've done it years and years and years and years.
Yeah, I think it's now up to like 12. There were 2 years for COVID that they didn't. I haven't been since COVID, but I was to everyone but one before that, and they were successful from the first year they did it.
That's great.
Well, I knew about this one, but the fact that they also make it a competition for best restaurant, I mean, that's really smart because the restaurants are going to bring high caliber food and service.
Right.
And
oh yeah. I mean, and they have honestly, Conshohocken, for a small town really I mean, they're not that small, but they really have some great restaurants in that town.
Well, thank you. The other one that I never heard back from was Rock River Valley. They have an interesting one I've seen on Facebook called Ambucks Giveaway, where they give money away. And do you know anything about that one?
I don't know anything about that fundraiser.
Okay. I mean, all I see on Facebook is them drawing a name every day. And
That's their calendar that they do. So they pick the month of February and you buy a chance to be on the calendar. Doesn't mean your name's going to be drawn. And I can't remember how much it was. I think it's like $20. And so after they get all the names, they have a deadline. Then they draw 28 names and they put you on the calendar. And then each day, on that day, there could be a $50, it could be $100, it could be a different. And the very last one is $500. So I bought several chances for my office, and actually about 3 or 4 of my employees won. One of them actually won the $500. So that was pretty exciting.
that is exciting.
It's just something super simple and easy. And they have a nice little folded brochure that's something simple. And they pick the month of February because there's the fewer days there. So obviously that means they make more profit with that. And it's just fun because you're asking somebody for $20 to possibly win anything from 50 to 500 and support their Amtrak causes and stuff. So something super simple.
Yeah, obviously they have to sell enough tickets to have the prize money. I mean, they must. Pam was asking which chapter. It's the Rock River Valley chapter that does that. If you go to their Facebook in the month of February, you can see they put the winner on there. They draw the name and post it. Thanks, Carmela. I was hoping somebody understood that one because that looked so that's probably kind of easy. You just got to sell the tickets to make the money. Then any of you guys have anything that you want to share or questions? Because that's pretty much all my presenters. I was kind of trying to read some messages here. Can chapters stay what state they're in?
So Clinton chapter is in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma City is obviously in Oklahoma.
Rock River is in Illinois.
Mountain Metro is in Lawton, Oklahoma.
West Norton is in Pennsylvania.
Great Plains chapter is in Lawton, Oklahoma.
And Conshohocken is
Pennsylvania.
I started to say Pennsylvania, but I was like, I went to so many states, it's hard to remember. So, yeah. For the really small chapters, especially the ones that are getting started, some of the things my chapter did in the early days, a lot of restaurants will donate money to your chapter if you go there and promote. They want free advertisement, obviously, like Freddy's restaurant. We would promote it on Facebook and make flyers and say, hey, come this whatever day it was, Thursday from such and such time, and say that you're with the Ambucks. And then they would write us a check for, I think it was like 15% of whatever, if they would take those tickets and would bring up and we'd get a check in the mail. We did that every month for, gosh, over a year. It might be $100, $200 a night because we're a small town, but it's something easy that small chapters could do. So I did type up a list of a bunch of fundraisers that the regional director sent me, and I think Adam's going to have it posted someplace, so you guys might be able to do that. Bob Evans, that's a restaurant, I'm assuming, Pam, that does the same thing.
Yeah, they do the same thing like Applebee's and Fridays and all those, but instead of it just being one evening, they do it for the whole day.
Oh, well, that's
and
nice.
they let us set up a table display too.
That's great. So there's a lot of other chapters that do a lot of variety of things. Edmond chapter has a monthly social at a different restaurant every month, and it's a restaurant that makes a donation back to their organization. So, and it's in the city, so a lot of people come there just to eat and they make money off of that. So that restaurant is very little work and easy money to come in. It's not thousands and thousands of dollars, but so we try to keep this to an hour. We're at an hour and a half, but I think we had some really good presentations. I tried to get a variety of fundraisers for you guys. And I appreciate all of you that took time tonight to get on here and share what your chapters do. Is there any other questions for anybody, or questions about how to set up fundraisers, or anything else we can help you with before we say goodnight? Nope. Well, thank you all. It was great to see everybody.
And then he gets so nervous.
I don't know what that was. Oh, it is. Donna says it's only an hour, so we can talk longer. Well, I appreciate every one of you guys. Next month, try to come back on again. Adam is going to have somebody from TechSoup on to talk about all the products that they have that are available to nonprofits. Those are, most of them I think are free. You can get things like Microsoft and QuickBooks and all kinds of, I don't know what all they have. I've looked into it a little bit, but next month that will be our subject, and I think it'll be a lot of good information. So I hope I see most of you back here again. And if I don't, well, you're welcome. If I don't see you, have a great holiday. Happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, every other holiday in between.